Today we're going to be replacing the head gaskets on my Ford 302 Small Block Mustang. Let's hop right into it.
Yo, yo, yo. Welcome back to Buttery Builds.
Okay, so as some of you guys may have seen in my short video.
No way. I have a blown head gasket. Are you serious?
We found out there was coolant in my oil pan the night before a drift event. So very unfortunate. I did try to bleed the cooling system. The car wouldn't even bleed. We had compression going straight into the cooling system and coolant going straight into the oil. So not a very ideal situation. We're hoping to see a very weird break in the head gasket where it's allowing coolant to go into the oil pan and compression to go into the cooling system. Many of you guys have told me in the comment section, cracked block, cracked cylinder heads, cracked this and that, water jackets, whatever you want to say. We're gonna, fingers crossed, hope it's not that. We didn't really overheat the car too bad. We did overheat her slightly at the last event I think we were at, but I drove her a couple times before that. She wasn't having any issues. Obviously, we hit a curb at 40 miles an hour, and that's the last time I drove her. So stuff's just kind of catching up. She's been mad at me, but we're gonna go ahead and pull these heads off and see exactly what happened and inspect her real good. Fingers crossed we don't have any cracks anywhere, and it's just a simple blown head gasket. We can get her swapped out real quick, spiffy, get back on track quickly. So first thing first, if you're trying to follow along, it's not going to be a step-by-step tutorial. I will kind of briefly tell you guys what I'm doing and have some sort of B-roll going throughout the video of me tearing it apart. So if you'd like to follow along, you can most likely do your head gaskets watching this video, but I'm probably not going to have all your torque specs. So if you need that, you're going to have to find another video. Sorry. First things first, let's get this cold air intake removed, strut bar, and intake manifold. Cold air intake off, the strut bar off. We're actually going to jack the car up and drain the cooling system before I get pulling the whole intake manifold off, just in case there's coolant running through there and we don't want to make a big mess. So. We got the car now on jacks. Let's go ahead and get this fluid drained. Got the cooling system draining now, so you guys have to pee in the next 5 minutes. Not bad. Let's go ahead and get this intake manifold popped off. Don't forget, you have to replace these intake gaskets every single time you unbolt it. Remember. Next thing we're going to do is pop this distributor out of here, pull these spark plug wires off. That'll give us more access to pull our fuel lines off, and then we can take our lower intake manifold off. Couple connectors, and she got it. Unfortunately, I wasted 20 minutes trying to find the proper fuel line disconnect, and it's now dark. So I just plugged this up. We're not going to pull the lower intake tonight. We're going to have to go get a disconnect tool. But in the meantime, I can throw the alternator off. You have to remove the alternator, and I believe the whole alternator bracket in order to get this cylinder head out. So let's do that real quick. Okay, now we have the alternator bracket removed. I went ahead and removed the thermostat as well. And now the next thing I'm gonna do, since I just don't have that fuel line disconnect, is we're gonna remove the headers. In order to fully remove the headers, you actually have to jack the engine up a little bit, which requires you loosening the motor mounts, which isn't a lot, it's just a couple steps that we don't want to take. So to avoid that, we're just gonna unbolt the headers and leave them where they're at, and hopefully that gives us enough space to pop the heads out still. Fingers crossed, wish us luck, but for right now, let's just unbolt the header flanges and go from there. We also need to get the spark plugs out. Let's do the spark plugs before the headers, that way we don't damage our brand new spark plugs. There's one. And 4. I'm gonna do the other side real quick, and then we're gonna unbolt these header flanges. All right, just got done pulling spark plugs out. We're actually gonna save the headers till tomorrow, call it a night, so I'll catch you guys on day 2. And we now have the headers removed from the heads. Got this one still attached to the Y pipe. It's just sitting down there, tucked away enough to where we've got enough room to pull the head off. This one I actually had to fully unbolt because it was not giving me enough room to where I could access these bolts down here. So got that one fully removed. It does turn out with the intake manifold off, you don't actually have to lift the engine up. So this side came out just fine. It's not that big of a deal. We're gonna go ahead and get a pulley remover tool to take this off, and then we can get this bracket off of here. If you're ever curious how to use one of these things, your pulley should have a notch right here. What you'll do is you'll take your pulley puller, find the flat side, that would be this side, and you'll put that in there with that, and then your bolt is actually gonna have a flange on it with the nut, and you get it all the way down enough, seat like that, and then as you screw into it, it will pull this away, and this will actually push through the center to the center spindle on the pump, and just push it, or I should say pull the pulley off, why it's called a pulley puller. Sweet, we got that power steering pump and bracket removed. Now we are literally just down to removing the fuel line, lower intake manifold, and valve covers, and we're really gonna get into these guys. You guys can see we have the Edelbrock aluminum heads. For now, we've just got the power steering pump chilling right here. There we go, finally. Since they're silicone, sometimes it'll get a little stiff on there, so if you give it a couple taps. There we go. We'll pop the valve covers off, you'll get to see the rockers, we'll inspect those, get the rockers and push rods removed, and then heads are out of there. We're gonna actually be able to finally see this head gasket and what happened. Okay, I've been actually really curious about some rockers in here to see if any came loose. We had a slight tick over here. It may have been a loose rocker, I'm hoping, or it could have been maybe just my blown out header exhaust gasket. Hopefully it's not a lifter. The lifters are brand new, so fingers crossed it's not that. Just gonna real quickly go through and feel, make sure all these are tight. Oh shit, see? That one's slightly loose. That one's slightly loose. Not too bad. I think there is a couple loose over there. Should all be torqued down. I don't think they should be able to move that much. I'm thinking this rocker being loose, there's a couple over here that are just slightly loose. That may be the ticking that I've been hearing, and probably a combination with the exhaust gasket being blown out. So that'll all get tightened up, and hopefully we won't have any more ticking noises going on, because everything's pretty much brand new. Next thing we're gonna do is pull all the rockers off, make sure to keep them in order. It's always best just to keep them with what it's already been previously wearing. So rockers, push rod, gonna go in one bag together. I'm gonna label it and then just go down the line That way I put everything back the way it came out. I have my fancy cylinder head remover tool right here, very high tech. We're gonna go in the opposite pattern of the torque sequence. So when you torque it, you always want to torque from the center outward for the gasket to evenly distribute it. And when you're taking it off, you want to do it from the outsides and inwards. So backwards of the torque sequence. Oh my gosh. Oh wow, that one was really loose. That's crazy. That one was loose too. These ones are really tight. Oh my gosh, that one was literally loose. I really just didn't press record when I pulled that cylinder head off. Are you serious? Dang it. We got the head gasket right here. Let's go ahead and inspect it, see if we can find anything blown on this side. So we don't see any major defects. What I did notice on this side, these bolts that were actually loose are kind of messed up around the gasket area right there. Over here, it's a little bloated. That could be the issue that we're having, is those bolts just came loose, the head started lifting, and we were getting some sort of seepage through right there. So let's hope it was just that. Either way, those bolts being loose, this gasket needed to be replaced. So no major failures. Like I said, we didn't have smoke coming out of the exhaust. We just noticed a little bit of coolant in our oil, and so that's probably all that was. Probably caught it really early and are super lucky to do that. So maybe it's just a quick gasket swap and we'll be back on the road in no time. Here's our cylinder head. Looking over everything, seems good. I don't see any cracks like you guys were all trying to tell me my cylinder's cracked and da-da-da-da-da this and da-da-da-da-da that. She's fine. She's perfectly fine. That valve is definitely a little white, so we were probably running rich or something. Something's going on. I'm gonna take this to the machine shop, have them look it over, clean everything up, and figure out what's going on here. Hopefully get her in even more tip-top shape after this. Okay, this time you guys can skip out on watching me unbolt it, and you can just watch me remove it. The moment of truth. I've done some good looking around. I haven't seen any cracks on the block or the cylinder heads. To all you memes in the comments telling me that my crap's broken, it's only a gasket, okay? We're gonna swap this gasket out. We're gonna be back on the road in no time. Got the engine all wrapped up with garbage bags. Keep any kind of debris out of the actual internals of the engine. Everything seems to be good. I see no cracks, so fingers crossed the cylinder head looks good. We just clean everything up, re-gasket it, and she'll be good to go. We did end up finding a couple loose bolts, probably due to the aluminum heating up, expanding, and shrinking over time. It loosened up those bolts. So let's go into head studs. Should hopefully prevent that issue in the future. And we'll also do a little bit longer intervals when I go to re-torque it, because typically you want to torque it, come back and then re-torque it again, because aluminum's just funky like that apparently. So learning it firsthand. That being said, we'll catch you guys at the machine shop. Hope you guys are enjoying. The heads have now been dropped off at the machine shop. We're going to be waiting for a call back either tomorrow or the next day of whether they are warped or ready to go back on the car. So that being said, we're going to turn this into a 2-part video. Stay tuned for part 2. Subscribe for more, and I will catch you guys on the next one.
It's dripping coolant. No way. No way. I have a blown head gasket. Are you serious?